Hi there, I'm Dr. Marie Fang. Welcome to my video series featuring quick tips and tools to help you be your best self today. Today we're going to give you some tips for how to deal with anger. And let me just give a disclaimer to say that this is not an all-encompassing tip to help you deal with all anger, but hopefully it'll help you get the ball rolling and get some momentum for addressing anger when it comes up. So first of all, what exactly is anger? Let's summarize it as an emotional reaction that comes up when either we feel directly violated, or a loved one feels directly violated, or somebody has sort of violated the rules or laws of a system or a land. Then we can feel anger in response. So here's a little tip to help you deal with anger when it comes up. First of all, it can be helpful to take an inventory of times that you remember having felt anger. So it could be an inventory within the last week or month, or it could be sort of a lifetime inventory of sort of the big angry moments that have happened to you. Go ahead and make a list. You can write it down or just sort of take a mental note. And then once you have a list, it doesn't need to be an exhaustive list. Oh dear, that would be a long list, wouldn't it? Once you have a little list going, then you're going to want to go through and see if there's any themes or patterns to what types of violations are happening in the moments that you felt anger before. Because what happens is, as individuals, there tends to be themes to what kinds of violations are most upsetting to us. And that can be different from person to person. So just for a simple example, we could think of, one person might be really angry when somebody else cuts them off on the freeway. And another person might just feel like, it just rolls off my back, but they're upset by something totally different. So it's helpful to notice what kinds of violations really ruffle your feathers so we can notice a theme. And then the next step is to see, is there something about that violation that you find painful, that you find disruptive, that you find hurtful, and see if you can name that. And this step is going to be the hardest one of all, most likely, because it's naming a vulnerability and it's forcing you to set aside a little bit of the anger to see through it, because that anger is sometimes that initial protective reaction that's covering up something that feels more vulnerable. So we're kind of opening the curtain a little bit behind the anger to see the soft spot underneath, and that can be quite difficult sometimes. So if you have trouble naming it or it's painful to name it, you are in good company. But this is a helpful way to try to navigate and address the angers to see, well, what is it that I'm actually needing to protect or I'm afraid is vulnerable that the anger is sort of covering up and responding to. And then once you're able to sort of name that, then it's really helpful to see, is that enough for me to just acknowledge within myself, you know what, when somebody cuts me off in the road, I feel violated because I feel like they're encroaching on my space and they're disregarding my validity as a human and they're cutting me off, and I'm just so upset that that's what they're doing. And really it's that I just need to feel like I deserve respect and I am worth being able to take up space on the road, for example. Or there may be a need to address it with somebody else, in which case you might find it valuable to check out my video on I feel statements, which can help you acknowledge the emotion. So it might be, I feel angry, and to be able to bring it up in the context of what is upsetting you and to be able to clarify why it's upsetting you. So it's not just, I feel angry when you yell at me, which is a totally valid statement, but that expansion of, I feel angry when you yell at me because it makes me feel like I'm not important to you, and that's painful, right? So it helps round out why the anger is there and helps somebody else reconcile if need be, or address the upsetting issue so it's not repeating over and over again. Once again, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is not an exhaustive tip on how to deal with anger, but I hope you find it helpful as you look for ways to deal with whatever anger you might be experiencing. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe for more like this one. And until next time, I'm Dr. Marie Fang, and I hope you have a great day.